Today we're going to talk about this notion that clients change. Now, I know you're in the business of change. You're in the business of helping people change, validating people's existence and where they're at in the world, and then also helping them create their own destiny, create their own pathway to that destiny. And I'm telling you, there's some funky things that happen between individual counseling, couples counseling, and family counseling. And one of the first things that you're going to notice is that the individual will come in, and the individual comes in at a starting point. And a lot of times we get super kind of almost hyperactive, that we want to see them adopt change that they need or that they want to have a happier life. And it gets super frustrating when this individual comes in and he sits on the couch or she sits on the couch and says, I really want to be happier, and I'm just not happy. And I'm in a messy marriage, and I've got an alcohol problem, and now and again I'll take my medication that I've been given by my doctor for depression. Sometimes I forget, and I don't like my job, and I don't feel like I'm a very good partner for my mate. And so you hear all this and you think in your mind, there's these little treatment plan ideas that click into place. And as you're listening, you're empathizing with the person, you're asking them some questions to deepen the conversation just a little bit. Like you might ask, well, tell me a little bit about why you feel like you're failing as a partner. And then they'll say, well, because I do these three things. And then maybe you ask them a couple of questions about how they do self-care, how mindful are they able to just kind of slow everything down and breathe, and maybe even help them do some breath work. And so while you're doing that, they feel very relaxed, they feel maybe comfortable in your office, and you get through that session, and they go home and they come back and nothing's changed. And you're wondering, well, did I not do a good job, or did they, well, what happened there? And a lot of times, if that happens week after week, you start to get this sense that a lot of us start to get this sense that we're not doing a very good job. And what if instead of you're not doing a very good job, they're not in the stage of change that action takes place? What if this particular client is in an earlier stage in this process of change? And what if it's the only thing that needs to change is your ability to patiently walk with your client through their process of change instead of your process of change? Does that make sense? Super hard because it requires a lot of patience on our part. It requires us to manage our emotional response to our client's lack of progress. It also requires us to be patient as they feel their way through this, the possibility that they can do this, or that maybe they have this thinking error that someone else needs to do something for them. Literally, I'll have clients 6-7 months not make any change. Now, with personality disorders, you can wait 2 or 3 years while the person is still projecting and splitting. And that the projecting is, it's the Saudi defense. Some other dude did it, not me. And the splitting is when a client has that kind of borderline tendency of noticing a certain behavior, feeling some intense shame around the behavior, and then projecting it onto their partner to decrease their own shame. So, you say, I'm not a very good spouse. Well, you're not a very good spouse. And literally all of a sudden finding the menu of reasons their spouse is not a good spouse, but it's more a deflection of not owning their own stuff. In fact, a lot of times the spouse of a person with a personality disorder will say, my partner blames me for the very things that they do. I've got this one client that claims that her husband gaslights her all the time, but the very fact that she's saying that is gaslighting him. It's kind of making him feel a little bit crazy, a little bit like he's out of control of his own life because he doesn't see what she's talking about, but literally what it is when they disagree, she calls him a gaslighter just because they disagree. And so there's all of that going on at the same time. And so when you're dealing with client change, there's some very specific stages that I want to walk you through. Now, this is based on a research by Miller, Rolnick, and Prochaska. And those guys did this major research on experts and on experts in the therapy field as well as experts in other genres out there. And so as they did this research, they found out that really identifying where a person's at on the spectrum of being ready to change is a therapist's first task. Part of the joining with your client, part of that bonding, that initial bonding, is assessing, all right, where are they actually at on this spectrum of change, on this spectrum of readiness to change. And once you identify a client's actual starting point, like you'll have clients come in, and I know you've all had them, and I know maybe you've even been a client that has hit the therapy office ready to go to work, ready to create change. Like you're already there. Just give me something to do and I'm going to jump on it and I'll change. Others of you have had clients that go week after week where they just feel helpless. They look helpless. They do a lot of projecting, a lot of blaming, a lot of splitting, a lot of even looking at the therapist saying, "What are you going to do for me?" And so there's all these different personalities, all these different motivations. And the bottom line is that these Miller, Rolnick, and Prochaska narrowed down really 5, but they added a 6th one. We'll talk about that later. But 5 stages to consider in the change process. All right? So here's your task. Your task is to assess all of your clients. And if you're a client in the therapy office, take a look inside at where you're at. Now, don't look at where your therapist is at. And please don't look where your spouse or your kids are at. Look where you're at in the process of being ready to change your behavior so your destiny can move in a direction. Like it's almost like you got this North Star of a destiny that's guiding you, pulling you towards it. Well, let's laser focus in on yours and just see, for want of, where you're at on this this desire to change. All right. So stage 1 in this 5-stage where are you at in the change process? Stage 1 is the earliest stage. All of you are going to recognize this stage. There's people out there that are in this stage right now. I'm sometimes in this stage. I'm sure I'm in this stage on some areas of my life right now anyway. So stage 1 is, we call it pre-contemplated. I'm going to say that again. We call it the pre-contemplation stage. In this stage, a person has some negative things going on in their life, but they don't perceive that these negative issues or these things going on are really their problem. They don't believe that they're really part of their repertoire of things that they need to look at. There's little or no motivation to change. They're just uncomfortable. So have you ever had a client come in and say, "I'm really uncomfortable," and it's the old joke, like, "Doctor, I've got a headache. I've got a headache. I just really want the headache to go away." And the doctor says, "Well, okay, let me prescribe this. Let me prescribe you stop hitting yourself on the head." And you go, "Nah, I don't think I can do that. I want you to do it. Do it another way. Help me change another way. Help my wife calm herself down. Help her be nice to me. Then my headache will go away." "Yeah, but sir, I really think you should just stop hitting yourself on the head." And the client says, "But that's not something I want to do. That's silly. I don't think that that's necessary. If you could get my family to quiet down, then it'd be okay. If you could get my faith to quit annoying me in areas that I think that need to change because I know stuff, then I would lose my headache." "Well, sir, I think if you just quit hitting yourself in the head, you'd be better." See, that's my idea on this notion that people come in uncomfortable, but they don't see themselves as the problem. They don't see their discomfort as motivation to move their behavior anywhere. They're still looking at other people to move their behavior. That's stage 1. In that stage, if your client's there, you can't be in a different stage. You can't be in one of the other 4 stages. You've got to go back to that stage and help your client identify a purpose for their change. And that's your first task. That might take weeks, might take months, might take years, might take minutes. But make sure that if they're in pre-contemplation, which means they don't see they need to change, they don't see their work, they see other people's work, not theirs, then you know you're in that pre-contemplative stage. Stage 2 is the contemplation stage. So we've moved out of pre-contemplation into thinking about it. This stage might be the trickiest stage for me. And I don't know how you guys deal with it, but this is the ambivalent stage. Have you ever had a client that really feels like they're a little bit sad, they're unmotivated, they don't exercise, they don't eat right, they've got really horrible habits with like candy and soda pop, they feel like they're bloated and dragging, like kind of dragging through life all the time. And they just want motivation. So they want to stop procrastinating, and they want their life to be like maybe another level happy. And they recognize that they need to change. They're starting to contemplate, I need to do some things different. And so you challenge them to, let's start with just some good exercise, and let's not drink soda pop. And let's get in to see the doctor to see if there's any kind of a pharmacology that can help you out. And the client says to you, you know what? I know I need to exercise. And as soon as I lose some weight and this bloating stops, I'm going to exercise. And you say to him, well, maybe the bloating and the losing weight will happen if you exercise. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think I will exercise. I should exercise. I think that's something that I'm going to really, think about. And then you say, okay, well, that's good. Let's make a plan for you to go to the gym or get a home gym going or get outside for a walk, just maybe a 3-minute walk to start with, and move that up to 30 minutes. And they say, nah, walking's not, I don't like working out at a gym, and I don't like to walk. It's too hot. And so notice what they're doing is they're arguing both sides. When you say, okay, yep, let's make a plan for exercise, it's like, nah, I can't really do any of that. When you say, okay, well, let's not exercise then. Let's just work on get you into the doctor to see about some a medication management meeting with our doctor. Well, I really think I should exercise. I really think let's get me on let's consider an exercise plan. And then you jump back on that. Okay, well, let's do an exercise plan. I can help you detail that. In fact, I've got one of our counselors is a nutritionist. Got another one that does just like muscles everywhere. So I'm sure he can create a workout plan. And I'm sure that we can make but maybe I'm just not ready for that. I think maybe it's hot outside and I don't like the gym and I really don't like to sweat. And so no matter what you do, they just shift. That's the ambivalence. This is the contemplative stage. In the contemplation stage, they know they need to change. Your clients know. And if you're in the contemplation stage as a client, really notice every time that you argue, yes, I'll do it. Oh, but no, I'm not going to do that. And you just go back and forth. When the counselor jumps over here and supports you in the yes, you say, not so much. And when they say, all right, there's other things we can do. It's okay if it's not so much. You're in charge of your treatment. Yeah, but I really should. And so if you find yourself doing that, you're in the contemplation stage, but you're not ready to take action. So notice this. If your client is in the stage where they don't even think they have a problem, there's no use talking to them about, do you want to or not want to do this act to solve the problem? Because they don't think they're the problem. They think somebody else is. Stage 2, they know they're the problem. All of you know at this stage, I got to work on me. But the ambivalence comes in where you argue both sides. You can argue the yes side and the no side, and you just keep like whack-a-mole. You just keep moving. Clients will stay there until they're in enough pain to move to the next stage. They'll stay that I know it's me. I know really probably what I need to do, but I can just see so many pros and cons. I'm scared to get started. There's so much to do that, like if I've got to lose 2 pounds a day, 2 pounds a week, it's going to take me 8 years to get to my ideal weight, and that's so long I don't even want to start. If I can't do it all in the same setting, I don't want to do it. Somewhere in there, they'll move because of pain, or because of you're showing them their ambivalence to the preparation stage. Now, in the preparation stage, they've accepted responsibility. They know they're going to take a course of action. They don't have a plan developed yet. So in the preparation stage, they've moved out of I'm not the problem to I know I'm the problem, but it's so big that I'm overwhelmed to, okay, I'm ready. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose an exercise plan. I'm going to get my diet in order. I'm not going to be perfect at either of them. I'm going to take steps on the path, though. And I'm going to make an appointment with Brittany or Brad, and and get in there and see the doctor for medication management just to see if there's something there that can help me just kind of tweak my chemistry a little bit. And so I've got all of these ideas that have not gelled into a plan. So imagine if you're talking to a client that has some really clear ideas on the direction they need to go, and you say, okay, get on out there and work out and change that diet and find Dr. Workman or Dr. Brittany and get that appointment, and then you let them go. Then they come back next week and they didn't do anything. Well, it's probably because they have the direction, but they don't know how to create a plan for it. So now you realize, okay, in the preparation phase, they're motivated. They even see a pathway to their destiny that they want, but they're not good at putting together plans for the action. They might be visionary people that can see the vision, the big picture, but get overwhelmed by the data points, the details of this strategic plan. Or they might see a really detailed strategic plan, but they don't have this big vision of where the big reason why, so they just keep failing over and over again. So in the preparation phase, you've moved them out of ambivalence. They're not like wishy-washy arguing both sides. They're not overwhelmed. Now they're overwhelmed because it's difficult to map out the steps, the day-to-day steps. And so you send a client out with this vague idea that you need to work out. Well, that's big. Like, you've got everything from CrossFit to P90X, whatever that was with Tony Horton, and everything in between. And so help them narrow down to an actual plan. Either get them with an expert or use it on Google search and Google workout plan for person that wants to lose 20 pounds, whatever. All right, so the preparation phase is a wonderful phase. It's where you can start to feel that progress happen. You've got them out of the phase where it's everybody else's problem, not mine. You've got them out of the ambivalent phase where I can really see that I need to, but I can really see that I don't need to. And then you've got them into the preparation where they see a clear path, but not a clear plan. Now, the action phase is stage 4. In stage 4, the action phase, it's the person is actively involved. They come in each week. They've done their homework assignments. They look to you to like, okay, what's the next step? Because I think I'm getting this step down. They're really solution focused. They're existential in their views of they understand the big reason why. They understand that the solutions are right there, and they know that if I want my life to look like that, what would I need to do to achieve it? And they've answered all the magical questions. They're really motivated, and they're doing stuff. They'll require coaching in this phase to keep the momentum going. And so what you do is you help the client in this phase keep agreements for a number of months as they solidify habits. So if you think about it, if I work out once and eat clean 2 days, I'm probably not out of the woods of giving up. Probably not out of the woods of it slowly fading away. So you hang in there for 2 or 3 months. I often say to my clients, all right, this change that you've created, let's see where you're at in 6 months with it. Let's do it every day. Let's be consistent with whatever this is. It might be a new boundary with people at work. It might be a new boundary with kids. It might be a new parenting strategy, a new foreplay or flirtatious strategy with the spouse. Whatever it is, help them see that this is not 3 days done. This is eternal. Most of everything we teach is principle-based, which means it's eternal. Like if you're helping someone have integrity, and so you help them understand how transparency is honesty, and they're transparent for 2 days, and then they go back to hiding stuff and being sneaky, you haven't really made much progress. Sure, there's blessings for those 2 days, but really principles need to be eternal-minded. And so we're telling our clients, let's do this for 6 months. Let's check in weekly for that whole time. You might not be here weekly. Maybe it's by the time you're to the habit stage where it's good, you might be coming in monthly. And then down the road, you might check in twice a year. So there's these ideas that you give the client that they can, okay, I've got a place to check in. I've got an anchor to my destiny and the creation of my destiny. And it's not just a quick fix. It's not just do this for a few weeks and my life's going to be wonderful and I can just not do it anymore. So in that action phase, it's super important to coach and to remind them that this is the stage that you're responsible to maintain the pathway to growth. And so many clients, especially so many clients, they'll come in and they'll know that they need to do some things. They'll think that other people need to do some things. You get them to this action stage, and they really feel like, my word, I've got it. I understand this. And then it's like, have you ever bought a training online, and you get the password and you get the link to get into the training, and you know it's yours, you own it, so you can go watch it anytime and do the little workbook anytime. And next thing you know, like 2 years has gone by and you never did it. And you think, oh my word, I meant to do that every week. Well, that's what this is like. I meant to keep going on my exercise, but I didn't hit one Friday. And so then I thought, well, I'll just start fresh again Monday. Then it was Tuesday, so I'll wait till next Monday to start fresh. And next thing you know, they're just not doing it. So follow up on all of the agreements that they made. Follow up on if you fell off the path, just get back on. It's called repentance. It's like, okay, here's where I fell off. Change a little bit here, and you're right back on the path. And then let it go. Don't carry it with you. Don't carry shame, or don't carry the mistake with you. Just get back on the path and move forward quick. That's the action stage. Lots of stuff happening there. It's exciting for therapists there. But really, I'm going to ask all of you that go to therapy and all of you that are therapists to go back to that pre-contemplation stage, and you be just as excited about that stage, because it is the first stage towards action. If existentially I can help a client that doesn't believe they're a problem, it's either some other dude did it, or if a spouse needs to change, or kids, as soon as they say as soon as a lot. As soon as my wife's nice, I'll smile. As soon as my kids are quiet, I won't have a headache. If you can get them out of that stage, it's a challenge, and it's wonderful, and it's like really rough sandpaper where you file off the rough edges. Now we get all the way through action stage with excitement in each stage along the way, with motivation as a counselor each stage along the way, without giving up on a client, and clients without giving up on yourself each and every stage along the way. Now the maintenance stage is where you've got new ideas, you've got new habit goals set in place. You've worked for the 6 months to solidify a habit. You reassess in the maintenance stage and decide, is it working? And you've gave it a good college try. You've went a good solid 6 months, and you feel like this and this and this has worked. This one not so much. So maybe you throw that out and put something else in its place and start digging that trench. It's literally like you have this smooth brain at birth. That's just an analogy. And you wear these grooves in the brain, like if you can picture a dirt road going way out through a field into the distance. And after a rainstorm, a heavier truck drives on that dirt road and makes these little divots there's a better word for it. I don't know what it is. But you make these little grooves in the road with your tires. And then when the road dries, the groove's still there. Well, that's like your brain. You've got these grooves of behavior in your brain. And now we've filled the old grooves in with dirt, and we've trenched in some new grooves with new tires and new tracks going a new direction. Now, every time you're trying to change, you slide back into the old grooves pretty easy, because that's what you do on a dirt road. When it's slippery and muddy, you slide into the old grooves, and it's hard to get out of them. Well, as you fill them in and create new grooves, you've created new habits. And then the maintenance phases, are these habits working? And so you check in with your client, and clients check in with your coach, your counselor, a trusted loved one. What do you think? How am I doing? Give me your feedback on what you see. The maintenance phase is where you validate everything that's working, and you empathize with what's not working. And remember, counselors and clients, people that are in therapy and coaching, and people that are participating in the performance of therapy and the craft of coaching, it's checking in on, I'm really sorry that that's not working. I can see how painful that is to see once again one of our pathways just didn't work out. Well, I want to also validate that these 3 pathways did work out, and you're a genius in those areas, and I just appreciate you. So thinking through that lens, you're helping them do more of what works and less of what doesn't work through validation and empathy. And spouses and partners, you can do the same thing for each other. Really, stage 6 is a stage added on at the termination phase. This is where counselors and coaches and clients part company. And whenever I part company with a client, I always let them know that, look, pop back in for a booster shot or a mental health checkup once a year. Just give us a call. And often they'll line up that in a year right at that moment. They'll just go up front and say, okay, I want an appointment 12 months from now on this very day. And so we'll set that up for them and I'll see them in a year. They also know that they can call me anytime. It seems like having an anchor a year away gives them almost permission to call you if they start to like feel themselves slip up during that year. So there you have it. Those are the 5 stages of change with a discharge. If I just run through them again, pre-contemplation, I'm not the problem, somebody else is. Some other dude did it. My wife needs to change. Second one is contemplation, where I might be the problem. Third is preparation, where I know I'm the problem. I know I need to make some changes. I'm just not quite sure how to make the plan. And then the action stage is where I've got a plan, I've got goals, and I've got steps to take, and I'm taking them. The maintenance stage is where I hold firm till I create new habits and assess the habits, what ones work, what ones don't, and then part company with your coach and check back in a year. Now, take all of that, okay? That was for an individual. Now, what if it's a couple in your room? Can you see how it gets messy? And this is what I love about couples work. He's in pre-contemplation, she's in action. He doesn't think he's got a problem. She knows she's got work to do, but she's frustrated that he thinks it's all her. So she's not doing her work because she's mad that he's blaming her for everything. He's mad that she doesn't take accountability because he doesn't see that he's the problem. And they both believe it. They're not lying. He doesn't actually believe he's the problem. You can see it blaring at you that he's got a problem, and you agree with her, but you get frustrated with her because she just kind of yells at him, is all anxious about him, and she's not doing her work and minding her side of the street. But then he's like hyper-focused on her side of the street. So can you see how the couple that's in different phases, so many of us have this temptation to then, well, I better meet with him alone and her alone. You might do that once just to help them see the stage or see the purpose of counseling. But what if you together helped them talk about it? What if you talk about with her how he feels pushed out of what he knows to be true instead of validated? What if she just needs to find ways to compliment and to pull him into feeling close to her? What if he needs to quit blaming her? What if it's handy for her to tell him, I feel like you're always sabotaging my progress? And having that conversation together is powerful. What if he's in action stage and she's in ambivalence? Like, yeah, I know we need a date, but I just don't have time. I need to go on a date. A 5-hour date would be wonderful, but I got 6 kids and there's just no chance. And so you talk about, mom stuff and yeah, but no, I need to go on a date. The kids will be okay. They will be okay. All right, well, let's do a 5-hour date this week. No, there's soccer. And so she's in ambivalence. He's in action. See how messy it can get. And then add a family constellation where you got 4 kids, mom and dad, all 6 in a different stage. So what you notice is you're constantly flipping and helping them see the stage that they're in and helping everyone else see the stage that each of them are in. That's what I love about couples work, because there's all of that going on in the room. Have some fun with it. Think about your clients. Think about what stage they're in. Ask yourself as a coach, as a counselor, and as a client, the 3 C's. Ask yourself, what stage am I in and how is that affecting my loved ones? And coaches and counselors, what stage is my couple in, and are they in the same stage or different? And how messy is that? And how can I help facilitate them seeing each other? Because all they've got to do is see each other, and then they'll accept. Okay, there you have it. 5 stages of change with a termination plan, a discharge plan. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you again.